The modern woman knows how powerful she is and creates her world with passion.
She's intentional about how she leads her life, who she supports, and who she brings around her.
She's not afraid to dream big. She defines success for herself and pursues what's on her heart.
Even when we don't have all the answers.
Society taught me how they taught me how to be. No fault of anybody, but it's just what happens. I've unlearned so many things that aren't necessarily for me and relearned or just like uncovered the way that I am really meant to operate in this world. And so when I think about raising Aubrey differently and Mira and Dre, like, okay, how can I raise them in a way that supports who they really are and not just like what's expected of them? When I think about the relationships that I want to have with my kids when they're older, I think like obviously I want them to feel like they can call me for things and they want to hang out with me and spend time, doing things together. So if I want that in the future, like, why wouldn't I want that now? And I do. Mm-hmm. I realize, okay, my true nature is play, her true nature is play. We connect on play. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Mira, same thing with Dre. Now they're a little older and they think I'm crazy, and that's fine. But it's way more fun than me being like, do this thing. Like, no. Like, let's make it fun.
With us deciding to do the adventure of a lifetime and sell our house and live in a tiny home and travel the country, I think that was the first time that I had really decided and done. Like, this seems so far-fetched, but I'm gonna do it. And I think it was the first time that I really gained that genuine confidence of I can create my life. And so I think that's more of what sparked a lot of my unlearning. By me unlearning people-pleasing action, I am giving the love that my family and friends deserve. I think the biggest part for me that has really helped with unlearning those tendencies is understanding that that was inauthentic love. And it's okay. You were doing the best you could at that part of your life. But now I am learning that. So now I get to authentically love people and authentically say yes and authentically say no.
Yeah. Intention's really important. How I do things is just as important, if not more important, than what I'm doing. And the reason why is because of purpose. I will say this, I think that purpose is the grandest act of creativity. And here's why. It's because, and we've said this before, but we're always creating. And every act that we do, whether it's breathing or moving or sending an email, everything we do is an act of creativity. So whether are we creating with intention or not? And is that intention really like aligned with what's true for us? And when it is, I think that's purpose. Like when we're on the path of our purpose, that's when it feels fulfilling. And I think that's the game changer. When it comes to purpose, it's like it's ever changing, but I also get to define it myself. Like if I want to have a peaceful life where it's fun and adventurous and I also work on cool things, that is what I get to do. I just started feeling more confident in the little decisions that I was making along the way. So I decided then that I never wanted to go back to that, like running on a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And so then I'm okay, if I don't want that, then where am I going? And it was really clear, actually, after spending a whole 3/4 of the year trying so hard to like hear a special message. And I realized all along that I knew. Like you asked me, actually, we were sitting on a rooftop in Nashville. You're like, what do you want to do? It's like, I want to do this. And you and I were talking about Modern Woman. And now I can honestly say, like, with confidence that all aspects of my, like what I'm doing now is what I want to do.
We are thriving. And it's because I think we're making more choices now on what's fun and what would bring us joy versus what we should do or what we're told to do or what we think we should do. It's like, no, let's just do it. Like, just for shit, let's go. And it's always turned out to be amazing. To me, I feel like what I've done is just shredded everything else that's told me no. And I'm just like, look out. Like, I'm scared for myself because I'm just like, I feel like all the like safety barriers or the what ifs or I've just been doing so much shredding of the expectations of others or the words that I used to tell myself. Like, all of those have just been eliminated, and I am focusing on what makes me happy and just letting that take me wherever it goes. Like, just be yourself and go after everything that you want to go after. Like, every dream, go for it. Anything. Reach out to that person, like, audition for that show, like, do it all.
Confidence comes with competence, but you can't have competence unless you have the confidence to just try and just start. This year has really been a year of trusting myself more quickly. Trusting myself even more because I'm able to understand how I feel about things more quickly. And that gives me just a deeper satisfaction and a deeper confidence in my daily life. Like, even when I'm just deciding little silly things, it comes from my soul. Like, it comes from a place of, this is what's right for me. And to be able to act on what's right for me instead of, like, up until now, right, acting from a place of, well, this is going to be like what's best for everybody, and like this is what's going to like help the people, and like this is what's blah blah blah,
right?
Myself to caretake, so there's that. But like, making those kinds of decisions in that way just brings a different level of freedom. When I am not messing anything up, am I actually living? Let me ask you that question.
Right.
If everything went perfectly, that's boring. I did not live life to the fullest. I didn't try hard enough to mess anything up. So, like, where's the lesson there? And so now when something doesn't go well, I'm like, learning, let me integrate that fully. Let me, pull resources together to come up with whatever I need to come up with. And then also proud of myself for living big. Decision making leads to confidence, which leads to just ultimate freedom.
Well, what's weird is, how I get really excited, or when I get really excited, I have to poop. So like,
how many times?
Three before this call. Like, I'm just been so excited. And like, even the kayak tour lead lady called like an hour ago and was like, hey, is there any way you guys could get here earlier? And I was like, nope. I got Modern Woman. Today's Modern Woman Wednesday. So I got shit to do.
I'm just glad I literally have shit to do.
Literally.
I'm glad that I have that effect on you, because there have been many occasions where I cause you to use the restroom excessively.
You do. And even like right before the call, it's like a little tutti frutti. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm so excited. That was it. Like, that's the difference. My friend who's like piloting the plane when we're doing an engine stall, I have full faith in him. I'm just like, yeah, he's got it. When I'm paragliding tandem, the pilot behind me, I'm like, yeah, he's got it. He knows what he's doing. Like, when I was skydiving tandem, he's got it. No worries. This is insane. Look at these views. But when it was me in that mountain, like, Jordan was there with me, but it was me. Like, it was my brain. I was faced with all the impending thoughts, and I had to choose. It's like every day you have to create systems and resources for yourself to tell yourself you love yourself. For example, I'm critical of myself. I was like, right. Well, I still can be, but you get what I'm saying. So it's like bringing awareness to the fact that I was critical. I had a huge inner critic. Then the second step is, next time I'm critical of myself, I bring awareness to that in the moment, which is huge growth. And instead of being critical, have compassion. And then the third step is others being critical of me. So now I'm just existing in a loving way and loving me. And now it's like, oh, well, but I really cared about what people thought about me. I really cared about others' feedback. I really cared about that. And so now it's action. And now it's not you being critical, but when other people are critical, now it's a different kind of test with your inner critic, because now you either can give life to that and say, oh, I am X, Y, and Z, or I am unloving if I do this, or not. Or it's just like, okay, thank you for that. And I'm still loving and I move through life and it doesn't. That's like action.
I love the term. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. And then it's just like, and then you combine it all. Like, I feel like the fourth step is just like fully embedding it in your life and just like being able to move like confidently and, you know, giving yourself
is the love.
Yeah. Less is the new more, in the sense that then you're more you. You're more intentional. You're more present. You're more loving. And that's more of the kind of more that I want. More me.
The most important thing in career and feeling really satisfied is clarity. Like, am I clear, especially when you're searching for something new, am I clear about what I'm searching for? And the question is, what do I want? And that's just not the right question. It's how do I want to feel? And then the strategy, the how to get there, really depends on your skills, your preferences, on how you communicate and job search, the time that you have to do that, what you have availability for. Like the suggestion that I give to someone like my husband, or even this CEO that I talked to a couple weeks ago, he came to me and he was like, you know, I don't really know what I want to do, but this is how I want to impact people. And I have this great network, and shared with me about all, you know, how qualified he was, which incredible, like amazing individual. And I asked him, I said, so as part of your strategy, talking to your amazing network? And he was like, well, no. He's like, oh my gosh, why haven't I talked to my amazing network? And, you know, career coaches or whoever out on LinkedIn will tell you the best way to get a job is to network. True, it's an amazing way to get a new job, but it's not everybody's strategy. And that's why, you know, I find it in human design. I literally look at someone's human design and I talk to them for a few minutes and I'm like, this would be an amazing strategy for you. What do you think? And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think of that. Right. And so I don't know. I just think I get really passionate about talking about that too. So excuse me for going out on a limb.
No, yeah, do not apologize. And what a gift. Like, what a gift you are to help bring that awareness to people who might just not be aware. Like, that's another beautiful reason why I love human design. And I love your knowledge about human design too, because of that exact reason. Like, it is a new way of thinking. It is a new strategy. Like, it is a new framework for most people, and it works. And it's so cool that it like works in that way for you to help bring new strategies and like aligned action for people in your network.
For anyone making any transition, how do I want to feel? How do I want to think about my life? What do I want to be moving through? Not what do I want?
Yes, and as you're answering that question, know that all the things that come to your mind are deserving. Like, don't let yourself second guess it. When you're answering that question, how do you want to feel? You deserve that. Ironically, yesterday, looked at Jordan and I was just like, you know what? I am going to write out my whole future life. Like, I'm just going to pull out my journal and I'm going to write who I want to be, how I want to be described, what I want to be doing, in just like the most perfect world, forgetting any sort of like way to get there, but literally just like, what is the best version of Brie and what does she look like? And I'm not done yet, but that's kind of, it's just funny too, how we're talking about like, you know, releasing and stepping into spring and, you know, transitions and just newness in our lives. And I feel that right now for myself, but mostly for like every facet of my life right now. So I am loving your insights, and it makes me feel seen to know that like this is the right time.
I have the chills. How is that exercise feeling?
Amazing. It's amazing, Jacqueline, because it's me intentionally like defining who I am for myself. And that is a life lesson that I am continuing to learn throughout this world. Like, who am I? What is my greatest asset? Like, what a blessing at 29 to be able to have the awareness and just the intrinsic motivation to do a thing like that. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I'm just like so grateful for myself that I love myself enough to sit down with myself and really intentionally be like, Brie, you get to decide. Like, I know we've talked about it, but I've never sat down with myself and like actionably, that's not a word, that's not the right word, but like, like really applied it to my life. And so it's been so liberating. I feel so bright. I feel so loved. And I just feel just this amazing amount of contentment that like I can write it. I can write my own story. And there are a lot of really hard things that I've endured in my childhood that is part of my childhood. Yes. And I am very grateful for those things. And those are experiences and feelings that I felt and continue to feel and will continue to feel, but they are not my character, nor are they my identity, nor are they my world. So it's really cool to kind of determine what my world is now. Like, my whole childhood was illness. I had seizures all the time. I was not good in school. I was, needed way more help than the school systems that I was in had resources for. And so it's like, no, now this year is 10 years seizure free with no medication. Like, I am the healthiest version of myself. I am like living dreams, working with agencies and organizations, helping them create their own anthems and bringing this unbelievable power to younger generations and creativity and just all the things. It's just like I am on a new path, and it's really exciting to be able to feel like I have the strength and the ability to write it.
I'm always talking about making little tweaks, and I was journaling about things that I'm adjusting or leaning more into or leaning further away from. And one of the things that I love is fashion. And I can't put my finger on why. I just really like it. I think part of it's the self-expression. It's just fun. It's interesting. It's a hobby. I don't know. But part of me is really sad that I don't have a lot of opportunities to wear cool clothes. And that's why I end up going to like Kroger in a skirt, right? I mean, I go to like these really mundane places in like dresses or clothes that you're like, why are you wearing that? And so I was thinking about it today, and I was like, I really love this dress. Oh, I don't have anywhere that I would really wear it to. So obviously I don't need it. I'll just keep wearing these like, leggings and blazer situations. But for me, it's important to be like lit up by my wardrobe. And so I was like, create places to wear these things outside of the grocery store.
Yeah, but also I was going to say how inspiring it is too that you do that. A lot of people will just let it stop at all I have to do is go to Kroger today, so I'm not going to wear that. But I love that you wear that cute skirt to Kroger, because you should. Like, your whole life is literally the main, like, you are the main character, so you should dress as such, and you do. Something that I decided to replace with expectation was standards. And let me explain. So I thought to myself, high expectations in the past have ultimately led to resentment because the focus is external. When we have high expectations for other people, it's based on outside performance. But when we have high standards, that leads to alignment because the focus is internal. We are now focusing on what our standard and our values are in our life, and then we move in the way that aligns with that. So I am no longer attracted to energies that aren't at the standard that I am living and moving through, which is why a lot of our relationships throughout our whole lives ebb and flow, because we are going through different experiences, we're growing, we're whatever, all the things. But I was like, that's a really good like switch. It's like having a high standard for my living is focused on me and my own values and the energy that I am willing to accept and bring into my life and then put out. Having high expectations is me not really having anything but hope that other people meet what I want them to meet, which is not a healthy way of living and moving through your life.
And I think as long as I'm speaking from my soul and like from my heart, other souls and hearts will hear that. And again, my focus isn't for everybody to hear this message, but the people who need to hear it. Hear it.
Right.
And two, over time, the art of just expressing yourself is one, healing. Two, it changes you. I guess that's kind of healing. And three, it puts a vibration into the world, puts an energy into the world that even just it existing is making waves.
It's interesting when you said too that you like feel, like you can feel the good, like the good that is on its way. And I feel that too. And I don't know if I was able to feel that before. I think I was so, I'm trying to think of the right word. I think I was so dependent on my actions that I had no trust in the universe. Like I thought I was a lone wolf and it was solely up to me. Mm-hmm. And I almost feel more supported by the energy that's surrounding me right now. And I almost feel like maybe it's vulnerability, maybe it's release. It's almost like I'm letting go of that pressure on myself because I'm learning that I am not alone, really, truly. And I'm living that. Like I know that I am so protected and I am so supported, and I'm only going to go where I'm supposed to go.
I would look at this affirmation that was like, the universe like rushes in to support me. And in every situation, I am fully supported. And I know those are things that you've been practicing too. So at first, remember when I first heard that, I was like shocked by it. I was like, what? That's crazy. And now it's like writing on the wall. Because it actually was writing on the wall. It's just something that I just don't have to think about because it's in my subconscious. And people make fun of affirmations, but they work. And that's an example.
I really love my mind. And I really love like a lot of the internal aspects of myself. But the one thing that has always been a struggle for me is loving my body physically. And I'm healthier than I've ever been. I don't know if I'm the thinnest that I've ever been in my life, but I'm the healthiest. And so sometimes connecting that in my brain is a challenge. And I've been working on it, but it's not fully released. But just the idea that like healthy people look differently, like healthy people don't look what we're taught in magazines or in the media. And I don't know. I've really been adopting like fully loving every aspect of myself. Like I've done a lot of work on the internal, but now I'm releasing this idea of external. Like because I love myself so much internally, that's enough.
I love the evolution of the definition of health over time, and how it's come more into the mainstream. Because when you and I were kids, again, you and I weren't like, whatever the magazines were saying was what we were maybe into, and whatever our parents put in front of us is what we ate. And so thankful that we had food, and the definition of healthy looked a little different than now. And it really is about like nutrition and fueling yourself. There was like a short period of time where I could like walk into any store, throw something on, looked great, leave. But I also had no figure, and I much prefer the figure. I'm a woman, for goodness sake.
The positives of being an individual, and your opinion might be different, but you can really have an impact with that opinion. Like, so stick to what feels best for you, because that really you can actually teach your friends. When it's so easy to sometimes be impacted by our friends, but that's also goes back to our previous episode when you were talking about how you're teaching Aubrey and Mira too, like about their own unique design, and also about what their strategy is and what is most aligned for them in their life.
Yeah. I definitely want them to be, when there are a bunch of girls in a room together, like pinching themselves in front of a mirror, I want them to be the ones that are like, this is how I think about myself, and like walks out the door. I mean, in a loving way.
Yes. And like
fiercely.
Hugs,
but
yeah. Like hugs that friend and is like, no, you're beautiful the way you are. And so am I.
So I put like being smaller or shrinking as the go, and like being bold and like bigger with my energy is the grow. Yes. So it's like smallness. I mean, obviously there's a visual to it, but like I'm talking about influence and energy as well.
Be bold, be bright, take up that space, and eliminate the community or the areas in this world that make you feel shrunk.
Why not? What happened to you, Jacqueline, that you needed to be shrinky? Come on, get back out there. It's okay. We'll spank your little butt. Go ahead.
Yeah. Every time you say things like that, I always think of your song, and the part where it's like, I go first and I am worth it. I always think of that line.
I still can't listen to that song without crying. It hits so deep. It's like so true, the type of truth that just brings tears and feels. I love it. I'm feeling this just like sense of celebration of yourself in a really genuine way. No ego, no like I'm the shit, even though we all know that you think that about yourself. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. But like you are well, no, Brie. And you are like, you truly live up to that. But what I'm saying is like the celebration of yourself, and like this celebration of your life, and like just true like care for your own heart and your own feelings, versus like maybe placing it to the side and then going about life and day, which we all have to at some point. But it's really beautiful, honestly. And another thing that I notice about you is your celebration of yourself. It is coming more naturally. It may not have been so natural, but you are really good at celebrating people and like beauty. And I see that in you, because I know that's something that like I also possess. And you help, like, for example, me feel like so celebrated. It's like so natural. Like I was crying yesterday because I felt so celebrated by you. And I was like, everyone get you a Venus and Aries friend, okay? Like do that.
Yes.
As a recommendation, your prescription, go find one, because it will celebrate the heck out of you. But what's more beautiful to me is you doing that genuinely for yourself.
Like how cool to create something that is literally gonna help our future selves expand and move forward in our lives.
My celebration depends on nobody else. My celebration completely depends on me. And how am I can't expect someone else like put my happiness or celebration or joy in somebody else's hands, even if it's my birthday, especially when it's my birthday. Like I was born, let's celebrate that. Which birthdays are funny to me, like celebrating them, that's just a funny concept to me. But anyway, we do it. So culturally, I'm here for it. and I bring the party. So that's what I was telling you earlier in our conversation today. I did everything a little extra, everything was a little brighter, and it actually made the day super fun. And so by midday, I noticed that people in my life were like flocking to me and like doing things that they don't normally do and like celebrating me in ways that I did not like expect or ask for or anything. Like just like little surprises were happening. And I ended up like cooking dinner for like 12 people. Like I love cooking, so like that's fun to me. It's not fun to everybody. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like it's crazy how like celebrating yourself like just brought this like beautiful abundance into my life.
I feel so good, and it just shows like the power of our mindset and how it actually has nothing to do with the external components of our lives and has so much to do with the internal. And so that internal boldness, I feel like, is now reflecting out, and I feel shameless, I feel empowered, and I don't feel like I need to hide.
Yeah, it's so much both things.
Yeah.
It's so much action.
Action.
So much action, and trusty. And the expectation of it, it's like, oh, we talk about the same principles all the time and then we experience them differently, or something pops up in our reality and we're like, oh yeah, that one subconscious belief is still there. Like anxiety is fear of the future. And I'm like, what am I afraid of? Well, I'm afraid of, not being able to provide, somebody being sick, somebody, losing somebody. And at the end of the day, can I control any of that? To an extent, but not really. It's like trusting that all of those things are going to be taken care of and still taking the aligned action. And when I have anxiety, it's because I'm like afraid that one of those things isn't going to be taken care of when I don't have full control over it at all, nor should I.
But I'm kind of glad, because sometimes, like, I feel like that's when we learn the most, is when we're just like stumbling over our words and like falling forward. It's like way better than feeling like I'm a robot that's like a system. And it's like, that we're not systems, we're humans. And like, I can probably bring awareness to a lot of maybe and bring a reason and put words to why I'm feeling certain ways. But I bet there's like a whole bunch. In fact, I know there's a whole bunch that I'm not able to bring awareness to. I think I just heard that on a podcast recently, that we function like 10% intentionally and 90% of our lives subconsciously. And so I'm like, oh, whoa. So there's probably 90% of gunk going on that's also adding to why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. And so I think just understanding that too, like, lifts a little bit of expectation into how I show up, because it's like, you can do the best you can and still have a hard day. And that's okay. I am not afraid to be seen trying.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. And I was like, that's a really good one for me, because that kind of encompasses a lot that goes to that idea of like, I'm being faced with a challenge, or I failed, or I made a mistake, or it like kind of takes that shame away. And it's just like, yeah, I'm not afraid to be seen trying. That makes me feel more confident to like perform. That makes me feel more confident to like just exist freely without feeling like I need to do it correctly.
Life is an art form.
Yeah.
Like every moment you're performing.
All the buckets that my mom gave me, all that unconditional love, was amazing, and I'm grateful for it. And now I can give that to myself. And now my relationships, I just love them completely. I love their whole self. Like, I'm not looking for my mom. I'm not looking for me. I'm not looking for anything. I'm just like, I love being with you, and I love the things that I learned from you. And I think that's a huge growth that I'm very thankful for. And I hope to continue to learn to deepen that unconditional love. So then that reflects out into my relationships and my life.
Thank you so much for listening to The Modern Woman Show, where Jacqueline and I are becoming our truest selves. We are so grateful you're here. Remember to share your stories of growth with us too. Message us on social media or email us at themodernwomanshow@gmail.com.